Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little different.
Yeah, we are.
We aren't just analyzing a text. We're taking a cinematic journey. I want you to close your eyes. Well, maybe not if you're driving.
All right.
But I want you to imagine a world of high-stakes espionage, ancient royal deception, and the kind of tension that, makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up.
It really does feel that way. We're diving into a narrative that feels like it was ripped right out of a historical thriller.
It does.
We're looking at a pivotal chapter in the life of a displaced prince of Egypt named Zayn. But this isn't just a story about royalty. It's really a story about survival. We have a protagonist who's hiding his true identity, walking straight into the quite literally the lair of a ruthless conqueror named King Hannibal.
And the atmosphere here is just, it's heavy.
Oh, it's so thick with shadows and secrets.
Right. We're drawing from a source text called The Mission. And right from the start, you get this sense that one wrong move, one slipped word.
And it's game over.
Exactly. The stakes could not be higher.
And that's the central tension, isn't it? Zayn is about to enter this political game, orchestrated by an ambitious governor, a guy named Gimat.
Yeah.
But the ultimate goal isn't really politics. It's just pure survival. He has to get through a meeting with a king who has made it his life's ambition to conquer Egypt.
The very land Zayn secretly comes from.
The very same.
So let's set the stage properly. We aren't starting with, an explosion. We're starting with quiet, simmering tension. It's late at night. The rest of the world is asleep, but Governor Gimat is awake. He's sitting in this heavy, just unbroken contemplation. You can almost see the candlelight on his face, can't you?
It's such a classic image of political machination. And this moment is so important because it establishes Gimat not as some cartoon villain, but as a desperate careerist.
Okay.
He's just consumed by ambition. He knows King Hannibal, the king of Africa in this narrative, is obsessed with marching on Egypt and, bending it to his rule.
And Gimat, being the opportunist that he is, realizes he is sitting on a gold mine.
And that gold mine is sleeping right under his own roof.
Zayn.
Right. Gimat knows Zayn has this intimate knowledge of Egypt. To the governor, Zayn isn't a guest or a friend. He's an asset.
A tool.
He's a tool. He figures if he can present Zayn to the king as a spy, someone who can assess Egypt's defenses, make the conquest easier, then Gimat's own status in the empire will just skyrocket.
It's so calculated. It's purely transactional.
Yeah.
I'll use this young man to get a promotion.
Exactly.
So dawn breaks, and they're having breakfast, and Gimat decides to sort of float the idea. But he does it tactfully, right? He doesn't just say, hey, I'm going to trade you for a better job.
Oh, no. He's much smoother than that. It's the soft power approach. He says something like, since you have traveled to our land, it is only proper that you meet our sovereign, King Hannibal.
He frames it as an honor.
Yeah. Would you care to seek an audience with our king? He makes it sound like an invitation, but we all know what it is. It's a command.
And this is where we get our first real look inside Zayn's head.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't hesitate. He says, I would be honored. But inside, his thoughts are somewhere else entirely.
This is such a crucial character moment. Zayn isn't doing this out of loyalty to Gimat. The text tells us he resolved to surrender himself to the currents of history.
I love that phrase.
That phrase really stuck with me. He refuses to live an insignificant life. He's a prince of Egypt. He'd rather risk death in a king's court than, fade away in some provincial governor's house.
Yeah, surrender himself to the currents of history. It feels so fatalistic, but also incredibly brave. It's like he's stepping into a river he knows might drown him just to see where it goes. So the plan is set. They leave the settlement and head for the capital city, Elam. And this journey, the description of the travel is just, it's lush.
It is. The text really shifts gears here. We move from that quiet, smoky room to a full-on travel montage.
Right.
They're on these high-bred Arabian horses, cutting the 3-day journey down to 2. It just emphasizes the urgency of it all.
And when they arrive at Elam on the third morning, the reveal of the city is spectacular.
It really is.
Let's paint that picture for everyone, because this isn't just a village. This is a metropolis.
It's a fortress city. Massive walls, built to withstand any assault, and a deep, water-filled moat circling the entire thing. 4 great gates. It's all designed to project power.
The architecture itself is a warning. Do not mess with us.
Exactly.
And once they get past the guards, who, by the way, only let them in because of Gimat's royal signet ring, the sensory details just explode. The source describes the streets as being alive.
Yeah, the contrast between the grim, imposing walls and the life inside is really striking. You have people in shimmering, luxurious fabrics.
And shops full of musk, gemstones, silver vessels. It's clearly a wealthy city.
It shows that this is an empire that has profited from its conquests.
And the specific details really ground you in the setting. There are soldiers drinking fresh fruit juice on wooden benches. And get this, there's an acrobat dancing on a tightrope in the middle of a square to thunderous applause.
It feels like a real breathing place, not just a set piece.
Yeah.
But amidst all this color and life, there's a moment of deep theological tension that pulls us right back to Zayn's internal struggle.
Oh, right. The temple.
They pass a temple, and the sound of drums is just pounding out from inside. Zayn asks, whom do these people worship?
And Gimat says it's Marduk, the god who creates the waters and ensures the herds give milk.
And here's where Zayn's background just crashes against his current reality. He asks a really dangerous question, especially for a spy. He asks, can Marduk walk or move on his own?
Oof. Read the room, Zayn. You are undercover.
Exactly. It's a naive question, but it shows his integrity. Gimat panics immediately. He warns him sharply, do not speak like that. Though he sits as a statue of stone, he hears and sees all.
Gimat is terrified.
He's terrified of heresy, but Zayn doesn't buy it. The text mentions he's the son of a queen who worshipped the one true God.
So he internally rejects this idol. But, and this is key, he stays silent.
That silence is his survival instinct kicking in. He knows he can't win a theological debate here. He has to play the long game. This moment just establishes that Zayn is an outsider, not just politically, but spiritually. He is completely alone in this city.
So they get to Gimat's mansion in the capital. And again, the luxury is just off the charts. Lion and deer pelts on the walls, silver candelabras.
Olive oil lamps casting this warm glow. It sounds cozy in a very, very expensive way.
For sure. And Gimat throws a banquet in Zayn's honor that evening. And this is where the deception really begins to take shape. Gimat introduces Zayn to the nobles, but he lies about who Zayn is. He calls him a brave royal nobleman from Syria.
Right, Syria.
Yeah.
Because to the people of Elam, Egypt is the enemy. Egypt is the target.
If they knew Zayn was Egyptian, that night would have ended very differently.
Oh, and bloodshed.
Okay.
Gimat is protecting his investment. He creates a backstory that allows Zayn to move through this society without, a target on his back.
Yeah. Speaking of the banquet, can we just talk about the menu for a second? Because the source material gets very specific, and it is wild.
It is quite the spread. It's all designed to impress.
I mean, buffalo, peacock, rabbit, and giraffe.
Yes, giraffe.
Nothing says I am extremely wealthy and powerful, like serving giraffe at a dinner party.
It highlights the exotic reach of this empire. They have access to everything from the depths of the continent. It's decadence as a display of power.
And amidst this feast of peacock and giraffe, Gimat pulls Zayn into the garden for the real strategy session.
The scene shifts from the noisy banquet to this quiet garden with marble fountains. It's very cinematic.
And Gimat gives Zayn the script.
The instructions are life or death. He says, under no circumstances can the king know you are Egyptian. Zayn has to pretend to be the son of a Syrian governor. He has to embody this lie.
And Zayn agrees. He says, if you wish for my identity as a prince of Egypt to remain hidden, then it will remain hidden. He's putting on the mask.
He is. And Gimat sells it to him by appealing to his ambition, asking if he wants to wear royal robes and sit among advisors. Zayn agrees, but we know his motivation's different.
Right.
He's playing the role to get to the next stage. He's acting not for the applause, but for the access.
So the next morning arrives, the big day. They head to the palace. And if Elam was impressive, Hannibal's palace is just intimidating.
The architecture totally shifts here. It's not graceful. The source describes it as built from red stone with sharp angles and triangular arches.
It feels like a fortress, not a residence.
It reflects the man who lives there. It's aggressive.
King Hannibal. The entrance of the king is described with such intensity. Drums, trumpets, soldiers marching in. The whole thing is designed to make everyone feel small.
Yeah.
And then the man himself.
The visual description of Hannibal is terrifying. He's in military attire with golden chains on his arms, a thick black beard, a face like polished copper. But it's the eyes that get me.
What does it say about the eyes?
The text says they blazed with the fierce intensity of a red cheetah.
A red cheetah. That is predator's gaze. You do not want to make eye contact with this guy.
No. It implies he's always hunting. He isn't looking at you. He's assessing you. And there's this ritual where they anoint his feet with sacred olive oil.
Which just emphasizes his absolute power. He isn't just a king, he's semi-divine in this context.
Completely.
And then the confrontation. This is the moment where the rubber meets the road. Hannibal calls for Gimat and the Syrian youth.
Gimat prostrates himself immediately. He's face down on the floor, total submission. But
Zayn does something unexpected.
This is the moment of danger. Zayn steps forward, offers respectful salutations, but he does not prostrate himself. He doesn't bow down.
And the whole hall gasps. The Minister of War actually tries to force his head down. I mean, I was holding my breath reading this part. Why didn't he bow? It seems suicidal.
It goes back to his character. He's royal blood, a prince. He doesn't bow to equals. And maybe it goes back to his faith, too. He won't bow to a tyrant or an idol. It's a collision of pride and belief.
But surprisingly, Hannibal stops the minister. He doesn't have him killed on the spot. He just stares him down.
Hannibal's intrigued. He's a predator, and he sees something different in Zayn. A sycophant bows, a warrior stands. He sees fearlessness. He asks him, "Where do you come from?"
And Zayn recites the cover story, the Syrian lie. But then Hannibal steps off the throne. He gets right in Zayn's face. The text says he looks like a hardened warrior marked by cruelty, and he drops a bomb.
This is the forensic observation. Hannibal looks at him and says, "Your blue eyes tell me that you live near the Egyptian border."
That is a heart-stopping moment. The physical evidence, his own genetics, is betraying him. Gimat is probably having a heart attack in the background.
It's the trap snapping shut. Gimat hadn't prepared him for this. The evidence contradicts the story, but this is where Zayn's training shines. He doesn't flinch.
He pivots.
He pivots. He validates the king's observation. He says, "Your Majesty's intuition is flawless. My father's ancestors were indeed from the Syrian borderlands."
It's brilliant. He takes the truth, that he looks like he's from the border, and spins it to support the lie. He compliments the king while maintaining his cover.
So smooth.
But Hannibal pushes harder. He asks directly, "But you are not Egyptian, correct?"
And here is the masterstroke. Zayn looks this conqueror in the eye and lies with absolute conviction. He says, "I am not. The Egyptians killed my ancestors and seized their lands. I consider them my enemies."
Wow. That is such a risky, cold line. He's denouncing his own people to save his skin.
It's survival, but it's also psychological warfare. It tells Hannibal exactly what he wants to hear. Dictators love validation. By claiming hatred for Egypt, he aligns himself with Hannibal's goals. He gives the king a shared enemy.
And it works. Hannibal laughs. He's satisfied. He buys it.
He buys it completely. He tells Gimat, "Your man has spoken well."
The tension finally breaks, but they aren't done yet. They get summoned to the private chambers, the war room.
Right. And this scene is darker. It's more intimate. The pomp and circumstance are gone. Hannibal is standing over a vast war map on the floor. He's planning the invasion.
And he demands to know if Zayn is trustworthy.
This is where Hannibal shows his true menace again. He threatens Gimat. He says, "If there is even the slightest hint of betrayal, I will not send assassins."
I will march on Egypt myself and take your head with my own hands.
He's making it personal. He's binding Gimat's life to Zayn's loyalty. If Zayn screws up, Gimat dies. It ensures the governor will be breathing down Zayn's neck every step of the way.
And then he gives Zayn the mission that drives the whole narrative forward.
Zayn is ordered to return to Egypt, to go as a spy. He needs to gather intelligence on the army, the secret routes, and the mood of the people toward the cowardly pharaoh.
So Gimat is ecstatic, right? His plan worked perfectly. He's dreaming of glory and rewards.
Gimat thinks he's won. But the end of this deep dive takes us back into Zayn's head, and we realize that Gimat and Hannibal they're just background noise to him now.
It's the twist. Zayn agrees to the mission, but not for them.
No, he is completely detached from their ambitions. He's taking the mission because he longs to return to the land of his birth. He wants to visit his mother's grave. But there's something haunting him.
The 1,000 years question.
Yes. Zayn wonders, has 1,000 years truly slipped away?
That part gave me chills. It reframes the whole story. Is he literally a time traveler, or is this a metaphor for how long he's been away?
The source text leaves it beautifully ambiguous. It's almost like a Rip Van Winkle fear. He has been gone so long, or the trauma of his displacement is so deep that he feels like he comes from an ancient past.
He's terrified he'll return to Thebes and find it in ruins.
Collapsed into dust. Yeah. It feels like he's waking up from a terrible dream. He needs to see the stones of Egypt with his own eyes just to verify his own existence.
It suggests that Zayn is a man out of time. He's not just an exile in space. He feels like an exile in time.
He's haunting a future that might have moved on without him.
So what does this all mean for us? We've got a spy thriller, a royal drama, and this psychological mystery all wrapped in one.
I think the key takeaway here is about identity. You have Zayn, who's wearing a mask, the Syrian nobleman to survive a tyrant.
Right.
But underneath that mask, his true identity is driven by this personal quest for closure. He's walking through this high-stakes political landscape, but his mind is focused on something much deeper: memory and home.
It's amazing how he navigates these massive external threats, kings, armies, executions, while his internal struggle is just as intense.
Absolutely. The external conflict is, will Hannibal kill me? The internal conflict is, does my home even exist anymore?
Well, we certainly hope Zayn finds the answers he's looking for. It's a powerful reminder that in the grand sweep of history and war, it's the personal questions that drive us the most.
And that leads us to a final thought for you to mull over.
Lay that on us.
If Zayn returns to Egypt and finds it in ruins, as his fear predicts, if the world he knew is gone, does his royal blood still matter? Or is he just a ghost haunting a future that has no place for him? At what point do we stop being who we were and become defined only by what we have lost?
That is a heavy thought to end on. A huge thank you to everyone for tuning in to this cinematic deep dive. We'll be back next time with another exploration. Until then, stay curious.
Goodbye, everyone.